I've been thinking about this concept called the butterfly effect and how a very small change today could make a massive, massive difference over the term of your life 30, 40, 50 years. So, one decision today could be putting you in a completely different position when you're 60, 70, 80. Even if you're in your 60s and 70s, the decisions you make today will impact you when you're 70, 80, 90, and even 100 and beyond. So, in this video, I want to talk about the butterfly effect and how a single video changed my entire life. Let's start with what exactly the butterfly effect is. So, the butterfly effect suggests that small changes in initial conditions can have large, unforeseen consequences in complex systems. It's often illustrated with the idea that a butterfly flapping its wings in one place could potentially trigger a tornado in another. So, depending on how you started your life, you may be in a certain position today, but your future depends on the actions that you take today in order to get to where you want to be. The way that I see it in our personal lives, the decisions we made in the past put us where we are today, but the decisions we make today put us in a certain position, whether we like it or we hate it in the future. I want to start with a very small example. 10 years ago, I was doing deadlifts. I didn't use the right form. I tweaked my back. And today, I can't walk properly because of that decision that I made 10 years ago. I tweaked my back again. I can't walk temporarily. I went to a massage therapist, but right now I'm basically just constrained to my bed and my chair here. I'll be okay within a week or two. I'll be perfectly fine. But the point here is that a decision that I made 10 years ago is impacting me to this day. I've been working on making my back better. I've been working on trying to do more exercises. I need to strengthen my spine, and that's perfectly fine. I'll get that done. The decisions that I make today are going to obviously determine whether I'm walking around in 50 years or my back constantly hurts and I can't do anything to fix it. So the exercise that I was doing was the deadlift. The problem was that I was trying to advance in my lifting too quickly. I was trying to lift way too much weight too fast. I hadn't warmed up. I made the decision back then, and now I'm suffering for it. Going forward, I'm going to make sure that I'm taking all the precautions that I need so that if I ever do deadlifts, I don't hurt my back again. Now I want to talk about compounding. In a book called Atomic Habits, the author writes how a 1% difference, a 1% improvement every day for a year would lead to you becoming 37 times better. So if you start working on something and you try to get 1% better each day, in a year, you're going to see a massive difference in the results that you're getting from whatever you're doing. For example, I've made 379 videos on my YouTube channel. The oldest videos are still there. They were from a year ago. I watch them and I cringe. I don't know how I even posted these, but because I posted them, I am where I am today. I feel like I've gotten a lot more confident. I'm able to speak a lot better. I'm able to articulate whatever I want to say much better. I've, of course, gotten better at making spreadsheets. I've gotten better at presenting spreadsheets. And I think this is something that only happened because at a point, I was posting a video every single day. There were days when I was posting multiple videos in a day. And over time, the audience that I built, the most difficult part, of course, is building that audience. But the audience that I built has now expanded my reach to an even bigger audience. This is a screenshot that shows you the revenue that I'm earning from my consulting business. So I do one on one meetings with people. If you're interested, you can go into the description below and you can book a one on one meeting with me. But over time, you can see in the beginning, I made nothing, $0. This was almost 6 months to a year where I was making absolutely nothing. I think my first sale was in October of 2022. So I spent about a year paying for the service. I paid $20 a month when I was getting no reward, but eventually it paid off. So that first sale paid off about a quarter of the expenses that I had already accumulated. And then the second sale made up for another quarter. And then the third sale made up for another quarter. The fourth sale basically paid off everything that I had paid into this business in the beginning. I could have given up. I could have let go. I could have just said, I'm not doing this anymore. It's costing me way too much money. 20 bucks a month is not worth it. But I kept pushing through. That's the point. Pushing through. Keep going. Keep trying to improve yourself. Keep trying to do whatever you need to do because that butterfly effect could actually change your life. If I had given up in September because I wasn't making any money, then maybe I wouldn't have gotten my first sale. But over time, because I didn't give up, because I kept up with doing the work and trying to improve my knowledge, because I kept up with it, we're seeing higher highs and higher lows. As my audience grows, we're going to keep seeing these numbers grow more and more. This number is going to be dwarfed in 5 years. If I keep doing what I'm doing, this number is going to seem like a joke. Over time, I can keep increasing my rates. So if you're trying to book a meeting with me, book it now because over time, I'm going to raise my rates. I'm telling you that the value that I'm providing you with is massive. So I deserve to increase my rates. So over time, as I raise my rates, these numbers are going to seem like a blip, barely even having an impact on the overall chart. The way that I started this business was completely based on luck. I started posting content on Instagram. I didn't have a business plan. I didn't think that I could even get anywhere. My goal was to just create content, try to reach some people. Maybe I could change their life. I had a terrible spending problem before. I was spending way too much on things that I didn't need. I was eating out way too much. I was getting $500 to $1,000 worth of takeout every single month. I was buying things from Amazon. So I came across this video when I was trying to improve my finances. I was trying to get better with managing my money. One of the concepts that really got me thinking in this podcast was that the internet has massively broadened career possibilities. I was working at a bank. I was miserable. I hated my job. I thought it was the same thing over and over again. And then we had to start working from home. So in the beginning, at least there were these connections with the people around me. But when we started working from home, when the lockdowns happened, everybody was stuck at home. I was miserable. I liked talking to my coworkers. Now they were just basically numbers on a screen, letters on a screen with the Teams chats and all that Zoom stuff that we were using. There was no real connection there. So I was miserable at work. And because I hated my job and because I came across this podcast at the right time, this one right here, How to Get Rich, because I came across it at the right time, I started posting on Instagram. I started talking about personal finance at this time. Keep in mind, I didn't understand Bitcoin. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea where it was going. I started posting about personal finance and how you can use the financial system to your advantage. If you're just saving in currencies, you're losing a lot of money. And keep in mind, at this beginning, I understood it at a high level, but I didn't understand the real details. Why would you want to buy index funds? Why wouldn't you just save the money? Now I've gotten down that rabbit hole where I believe that the money will change. But in the beginning, I had no idea. I didn't know this. I started with just a personal finance knowledge. I understood how to get out of debt because I worked in finance. I saw people's positions, their finances. A lot of people were in debt. I was in debt. I had student loans. I had credit card debt. I had dental debt. I bought Invisalign. I had to pay for that. So at the time, it felt like there was no way out. It felt like I was stuck. So this video completely changed my life. Just this one message here. I started posting on Instagram. I started doing Uber Eats. I started doing my real estate license because of this video. I started creating more content on different platforms. I started my Twitter account. I started my newsletter. I started my community. I started selling webinars because of this video. And then I got really lucky on Instagram. I came across a post about the Bitcoin standard. So, this book right here, to read this book and to study what Bitcoin is, to figure out where Bitcoin is going in the future. At the time, I think we were at the top maybe of the bull run. People were saying that Bitcoin's going to drop to 10,000, 15,000, $20,000. And these were pretty accurate bets, thinking from the perspective that Bitcoin was at $60,000 at that time. So I read this book. I listened to the audiobook of it. I think I've listened to it 5 times now. After reading this book, I completely changed how I thought about money. I completely changed what I thought about the value of money. This book told me that basically the US dollar can be created out of nothing. The reason why gold was so valuable for such a long time was because it can't be created out of nothing. I kept thinking about where this thing is going, and I came to the conclusion that Bitcoin is a combination of the best features of fiat currencies and of gold. In the past, we used gold to transact. The reason why that worked was because we were close in proximity, we were next to each other, and we could actually give that gold to the people around us. So if we wanted to pay for something, we could just give that gold to whoever we're buying things from. More recently, of course, we've become globalized. We've started transacting across the world. And if you have gold bars or gold coins, you can't really transact. How are you going to send a gold coin across the world to buy something digitally when you may want to have it immediately? So if you wanted to pay for your Netflix, you can't pay for it with gold. So we separated the function of store of value from medium of exchange, from the way of paying for things. Thinking about that made me think about how after the currency function of money was separated from the store of value function of money, how the world has gotten so much worse because people are being paid in fake money. They're being paid in something that can be printed. So if the people who are being paid are saving in the currency that they're receiving and that currency can be printed, then every time that currency is printed, their savings are devalued. And all of this stems from the fact that if I didn't hate my job, I wouldn't have looked for other ways to make money. I would have kept working my job. I would have kept spending however stupidly I was. Life would have eventually started becoming unaffordable. I would have started probably hating my job. I would have started hating my life. And I would have been a miserable person at the age of 80, 90, because I didn't make the decision to find other ways to make money. So, this one concept, the internet has massively broadened career possibilities. In this one video by Naval, completely changed my life. It put me in the position that I am in today. Like I said, I've been posting videos for about a year. I wouldn't have started doing this if I hadn't watched this video 4 or 5 years ago. If I hadn't pushed through with the worst of my videos, then I wouldn't have the videos that I'm making today. Some of my videos are getting to almost 100,000 views. I had never even thought about creating long form content before I watched that video. And I just want to illustrate that example from Atomic Habits using numbers. So we can see here. If you start with, let's say you put $1 into a savings account, and that savings account magically gives you 1% in interest every single day, no matter what. To get from $1 to $2, it'll take you 70 days. Then to get from $2 to $3 to get to the next whole number, it takes you 41 days. And then the next one, it takes you 29 days. So to go from 3 to 4, 29 days. Then from 4 to 5, it'll take you 22 days. And if we keep scrolling down, let's just keep going. So at this point, it'll take you 4 days to go from 23 to 24. And then at some point, we can see the changes here. At some point, you start gaining $1 a day in this savings account. So you started with $1, but after 465 days, you start gaining $1 a day. So your balance is $100. And now let's keep going. We can see here by day 600, you're gaining $3 a day. By day 682, you're gaining $8.68 a day. And this number just keeps going. By day 798, you're gaining $27.53 a day. At some point, you're going to start gaining $100 in a day. And this is how compounding works. Most people can't wrap their heads around this. If you make the right decisions and you keep building on them and you keep building, this is what's going to happen in your life. You may not be able to improve at 1% per day, but let's say you can improve at 10% per year. You don't have to improve at 1% per day. 10% per year is huge. People have times where they can't improve as much, then they have times where they improve a lot more. So if you make the decisions today that put you in a position where you can keep improving, you can keep doing something that you love, and you keep getting better at it by 10% a day, think about where you'll be in 10 years. After 10 years, if you keep improving, you're at 2.35 times. If you're at year 20, you're improving to 6.11 times. Year 30, you're at 15.86. So over time, these numbers just keep growing and growing. Eventually, the number in the beginning becomes a rounding error. So now let's go back to that butterfly effect that I was talking about. It's up to you to make the decision to buy Bitcoin. This is assuming that maybe you haven't already, or if you have Bitcoin already, it's up to you to buy more Bitcoin. That's your choice. In 10 years, when Bitcoin has increased at 30, 40% per year, You're not going to be able to go back in time. You're not going to be able to buy the same amount of Bitcoin that you do today. You're going to be buying a lot less. Those decisions that you make today with Bitcoin, the decisions that you make to improve your finances, the decisions that you make to improve your health, all of those decisions compound over time and they make you who you are. Are you going to make the decisions today that leave you happy and actually excited for your life? Or are you going to make the decisions that make you miserable and just make you feel terrible? It's up to you whether you buy Bitcoin or not. You may not want to, you may be too worried to buy Bitcoin, and that's perfectly fine. It's up to you to do the research. You have to do the research to get over the fear of not wanting to buy Bitcoin. It's up to you to study Bitcoin, to read the books, to put in the time, to listen to the podcast, to listen to different perspectives. If you don't do that, you're not going to increase your allocation to Bitcoin. This is the Bitcoin butterfly effect. If you make the decision to study Bitcoin and you understand it at a very deep level, you'll make the decision to transfer your wealth from the current financial system into Bitcoin. You'll make that decision, and 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you're going to be insanely wealthy. So it's up to you whether your children work for Bitcoin or if you can pass Bitcoin along to them and they can do the things that they love instead of being forced to struggle at some corporate job or some minimum wage job where they're earning 10 Satoshis an hour. It's up to you to stack that Bitcoin so they don't have to. If you own Bitcoin, then you're putting them in the position where they don't have to struggle. Even if you don't have kids, perfectly fine. You can give that Bitcoin to some charity. You can build a school. You can build some kind of structure that the whole community enjoys. You can build a park. Whatever you do, it doesn't really matter. You can use that money. If you don't have kids, you can use that money to improve the lives of the people around you. Build a better park, build better libraries, build better things around you so that more people can enjoy them. That's my goal. That's what I would want to do. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I hadn't studied Bitcoin, if I hadn't started that Instagram account, if I hadn't watched that video. If I hadn't done all those things, I would still be stuck at my job, miserable as ever, hating my life, not wanting to go to work every single day, waking up every Monday, hating my life, thinking about how badly I just want to call in sick. That's the situation that I would have been in if I hadn't listened to that podcast. So, the butterfly effect, one decision can make a massive change in how your life proceeds, whether you're wealthy in the future or you're poor, whether you're living in the neighborhood that you want to, or you're living in some other neighborhood that you're forced to live in, whether you're eating food that you like versus food that's been grown in a way that's not healthy. It's manufactured, it's made in machines. It's up to you to make those decisions. I think that making that decision to buy Bitcoin may be one of the best ones that you ever make. And I genuinely think that it can change your life for the better. Use the butterfly effect to your advantage. Buy Bitcoin. You don't know where it'll take you. At some point, maybe it'll allow you to start a business. Even if it goes to zero, you'll have learned a lot about the current financial system. So buy Bitcoin. Make it so that at some point you are able to make these decisions. Make it so that at some point you can choose where you live. You can choose to start a business because you don't have to spend all day, every day at a job you hate. If you accumulate Bitcoin today, at some point you're going to have the capital to be able to change your life to suit the way that you want to live.